Big news on the future of Johnny Gargano. Johnny Wrestling? Can he still call himself Johnny Gargano? Is that a WWE deal? Well, he's got t-shirts out. We'll talk about his post-WWE life. Chris Jericho in the hospital in the UK. We can tell you it's not a COVID situation. They put that out on the internet. We'll give you the latest on his condition. Plus, so much more about WWE NXT's big victory for a local charity in Orlando, and so much more. Hit the like button. Get ready to get on screen because it's Freestyle Friday, baby, on Sportskeeda Wrestling Top Story of the Day. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! The latest on Johnny Gargano post-WWE. Let's jump right into our lead story. I'm Kev Kellum. That is Jeremy Bennett. If you are with us, get your comments on screen. Eric was first. You don't want to be last.
I'm still trying to get used to that swoosh.
If you're with us, you will get your questions on screen. It is Freestyle Friday. CRC knows what's up. What's up? It is a Freestyle Friday, baby. You get to drive the entire final segment of the show with all of your comments and questions. We will get into quite a bit. There is a lot of wrestling news here moving forward. Ring of Honor could be doing, what hopefully isn't their last show tomorrow on pay-per-view. A lot to cover here. A very eventful episode of AEW Dynamite this week. Some big moves with NXT, SmackDown, Jeff Hardy's out of the picture. A lot of topics to talk about here.
Yeah, I heard something interesting about tomorrow night. I heard a certain Tony Khan might be helping out the show.
Let's get right into it here. What is the latest on Johnny Gargano post-wrestling? We can learn from multiple reports that are all verified that Johnny Gargano's agreement with WWE, an extension of his last contract, which is very, very short term, ran up last night at midnight. He has already posted his Pro Wrestling Tees store, which is something that people that are independent of WWE can do. Some people in WWE, like a legend, like a Stone Cold Steve Austin, and a few other people can do it, but they don't they have different arrangements, right? But 99.9% of people in WWE that are wrestlers cannot sell merch outside of WWE like that. So he is selling merch. That is definitely a move that people make when they are independent of WWE. Though the word is that he's still in very good standing with WWE, and the door is wide open. They certainly created a scenario with him on television this week for him to return with Grayson Waller attacking him. He did cut an emotional promo. He did say he was going to bet on himself, which is interesting. No word, obviously, if All Elite Wrestling is pursuing him, but one has to assume on the surface level that they would, right?
They better.
So, and also that any major wrestling promotion would pursue him. You can put Kyle O'Reilly in the same camp here. We understand that Kyle O'Reilly's deal also came up recently. He is also a free agent, though he has not posted a Pro Wrestling Tees store.
Man, what if one or both show up tomorrow night? Woo! They could.
At Ring of Honor?
It could.
That would be interesting, and that
would be definitely clear.
That would be definitely a wild thing here. Jay Lethal wrestling on Ring of Honor's main event tomorrow. Okay, that's news as well.
That's because
we're going to touch on that. Bandito, the Ring of Honor World Champion, is unfortunately coming under COVID. This is a part of Ring of Honor's kind of final battle. This is the show they have all the year, but this could be the final battle. They do say they're going to do a Supercard of Honor show WrestleMania weekend and basically go dark and shut the promotion down. They released all contracted wrestlers. They were free to go anywhere. Some of them have deals that pay a little bit further into the future, but basically they're going to become a super indie and reboot the entire promotion, which many people were worried about. It was the third largest promotion in the country. Sorry, Impact. This is a bigger show. I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but Ring of Honor literally is in terms of its media scope here. But a lot of moves here. Where does Johnny Gargano go next?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, my gut feeling that I've said on Top Story all along has been he just takes time off, but maybe he shows up in the indies though. But in terms of a permanent home, I think he takes time off and re-signs with NXT. But you could see him in GCW. You could see him in ROH. You could see him in AAW. I think you could see him in a lot of things coming up. But I think ultimately when it comes to a long-term deal, I think Gargano is going to sign with NXT. I think Kyle O'Reilly is going to sign with AEW. I'm pretty confident on those two with that. But man, they're free and clear. So they could show up tomorrow and do Ring of H a solid like Jay Lethal is doing. Because obviously,
did you say Ring of H?
Did I say Ring of H?
You said
Ring of H. Ring of H. Ring of Honor. They could do Ring of Honor a solid, like Jay Lethal is doing. Obviously, Kyle O'Reilly, a former world champion, former tag team champion with Bobby Fish as part of Red Dragon. Maybe Red Dragon Briscoes. How fun would that be tomorrow night? Maybe, Red Dragon and the Kingdom. There's some possibilities that you could put in there. But I think in the end, Gargano and Candice come back to NXT is my gut feeling right now.
I think it's doable. I think it's doable. I think it's doable for you guys to hit the like button and spread the love of the show. I think that's doable here. Things are wide open. If you're any wrestling organization, Victor Nash he could show up in he could show up in NWA. He could show up in Impact Wrestling. They
need some roster. That roster is not anywhere near it was 2 years ago before the pandemic.
Rajan says, what if he came back at a summer pay-per-view for NXT? It's worth noting, in this promo where he said he said he's going to go on to the most important job. He's going to be a dad, and people were cheering for that, and they're expecting their child in February. I don't think he's going to be showing up at anything anytime soon. No. Selling T-shirts online, yeah, sure, that's a lucrative deal.
I mean, between now and then, tell the baby, maybe. I would say he may show up on some indies between now and then. Once that baby's born, he's probably going to be out from February to May, I would say. But I think in December and January, I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up somewhere.
Nick wants both Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae to go to AEW. It's worth noting Candice's deal is up in the spring, but, she could still be on maternity leave. We don't know the arrangement if there's any rollover time on that contract in terms of what's going on there. So a lot to follow, and this is certainly a developing situation. Sportskeeda.com has a ton of information on this, as well as multiple stories covering the latest details on Jeff Hardy's exit from WWE, which we covered in big detail yesterday.
Back to Candice, I am certain that extended time probably only is for injuries, and it won't be for maternity leave, because otherwise this probably would have been brought up already, and they have not brought up that they're extending the contract for her because of missed time. So I'm thinking maternity probably does not fall into that contract where an injury would.
Certainly interesting. Supersonic X saying Johnny is definitely moving on from WWE. I don't know if that's the case. I really, really don't know if that's the case.
There's a lot of evidence citing that based on what we saw.
Selling a pro wrestling T story is an indication of that.
Well, just the things that were said and what happened when the.
But I'm just not as certain of it as other people.
No, I said I called that he's going back to NXT, so I said it myself that he's going back. So.
If he popped up in the Royal Rumble, that would be really, really cool.
Yeah, and that's before the baby's born, so he could do that. I don't know, but I said it on Top Story a couple days before. I think he and Candice signed contracts at the same time for the same length of time. I think that they're going to do, and that's where he comes back in May sometime. Candice will re-sign too in May. She probably won't be able to wrestle for several months, but she could still sign a contract.
Get a load of this. Come on now. Vap Daddy Singh is texting in the show from India. Thank you so much, Vap Daddy. A psychic medium.
Nuts on it, huh?
He's a psychic medium in his screen. He says he's off to AEW. I will bet money on it. And then, he follows up with this comment. I'll bet $1,000.
Oh,
he's off to AEW.
I thought that was a peanut emoji. So he was like saying he'd bet his nuts on it. So if he didn't go to AEW, we could castrate him. Doesn't that look like a peanuts emoji there? Put that back on the screen. It looks like
it does look like peanuts.
I'll bet my nuts on it. I'm betting my cojones.
For everyone who's listening to the podcast version, you only have the audio. We throw people's comments up on the screen, right? And so I throw this one up here, and I thought it was like pennies or coins, but I'm looking closer at it. It does look like
he's betting his nuts on it.
He's putting his nuts on the line. Do you think that's a bit too big of a bet? $1,000.
Revap might be neutered by the time we come around summer here.
Eric Cavalier saying that is a peanut. You want a peanut? You want a peanut? People texting in here. Johan Panna, how are you, Johan? You've been watching my stuff for years. Thank you so much, Johan. And Jeffrey King with a nice comment. Thank you for all you do with Sportskeeda, keeping us with the news and stuff. Thank you, Jeffrey, for watching our stuff. I know we have a lot of diehard viewers that get into the comments, and there's plenty of people that don't make any comments on our show at all, and that's completely fine. There's a lot of people that watch our stuff. We want to do a really interactive show. That's the point of our show Monday through Friday. We can do the news stories in 10 minutes if we wanted to, but the interaction, the fun, that's what we're here for. I know a lot of you guys watch on Facebook, but please join us on YouTube. We have a goal. We really, really, really want to crack 24,000 subs. That's our next goal here. So help us get there. And that'll be really, really great. Ton of content exclusive to our YouTube, by the way, including exclusive interviews up recently from Survivor Series with Jeff Hardy, like before he got released from WWE. That's up right now. Certainly an interesting conversation in retrospect now with that. Let's move on to this other topic here. Chris Jericho has been off of All Elite Wrestling television here for quite some time. He's done this before with WWE. Very busy with his band, Fozzy, who are signed to a major label with Sony. And they are touring in the UK, where they are quite popular and quite successful. And he has been hospitalized. They had to cancel a show tonight. There are shows scheduled for this weekend. They're kind of in limbo with the shows, but the show was canceled tonight. Refunds being given there. And he is in the hospital. Now, I know the immediate rush when anyone goes to the hospital is COVID, right? But they clarified this is a non-COVID medical issue and that he is doing well. He has also posted on social media that he's doing well. But the status of those Fozzy concerts this weekend is up in the air in the UK.
Yeah, looks like, he'd been written off for this UK tour. He was written off for the attack of Daniel Garcia in 2.0 a couple of weeks ago on Dynamite. And so, and of course, every stop on that tour sold out. So, unfortunately, some of them are going to have to wait a little longer to see Chris Jericho.
Yes, of course, he had comments on this as well, simply saying, I'm feeling good. They just wanted to observe me overnight. I'm in a right place, not COVID related. This is Jericho speaking with the Wrestling Observer running that as well. Of course, they do have this tour, which is 100% sold out, too, every stop of the tour. So, he says the tour has been amazing, 100% sold out. Crowds have been absolutely nuts.
Jericho's been pretty active on Twitter today. A lot of retweets, but he retweets all the time too. So, but looks like he's pretty active on the.
Chris Jericho knows it up. I believe he still follows me on Twitter, so he knows what's going on. Is that such an asshole thing that is just there? You're like, yeah, sure, Kev.
Yeah, I'm followed by Taya Valkyrie. So.
There you go. You're on the board, bud.
I'm followed by Vanilla Ice too, by the way.
I told my nephew that I had a blue check mark. I got verified from my last radio job I work with, and he thought that was the coolest thing in the world that I was verified on Twitter, which is everyone thinks it's a really hard thing to do. It's not that hard to do. So I hope Jericho's okay. I hope this isn't a serious situation that, inhibits anything going forward. We don't know how serious this is. Getting observed overnight, that's not a good sign. You know, hopefully everything's all right. Hopefully it's not a heart issue. It's not my place to,
said treatable. Said treatable, so it's probably not his heart. Well, I mean, it's hard to be true. I mean, it says treatable, so I don't think
maybe it's just some of that rough English food you're not used to eating, and then it's
he probably had a few too many yeah boys. You know what a yeah boy is?
A couple of yeah boys.
You know what a yeah boy is?
Tell them what the yeah boy is. So
yeah boy is Jericho's favorite drink. It's vodka water
because it keeps you hydrated. Yeah, exactly. Keeps you hydrated. That's how you prevent the hangover the next day.
Pedialyte.
Yeah, Pedialyte. Lots of Pedialyte. Riot Fest, big rock concert. They had a Pedialyte station. You could fill up Pedialyte.
It works. I can confirm. It's weird to buy baby products, but it works for a hangover. I can confirm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lot of people sounding off here in the chat below, letting us know what they think here, asking what is wrong with Chris Jericho. We don't know. We don't know what's wrong with him at all. So here we go. Super chat from Victor Nash. Thank you so much, Victor. He says, did they find a replacement for Jeff versus Corbin tonight? Or did they scrap it because they're still being advertised? Now, here's the thing. We were doing this before Freestyle Friday, but he dropped the super chat, so we got to jump on it here. The man puts his money down. We'll answer. There is no plan for that currently from WWE in terms of what's going on with Jeff Hardy. I doubt they'll even acknowledge Jeff being cut from the company. They haven't even officially announced it in general.
I'm wondering if that's why they added RK Bro to this triple threat tag match.
Yes, there will be a triple threat tag team match tonight. New Day versus the Usos and RK Bro. So you're getting both the Raw and SmackDown tag team champions.
I called it. Riddle was the shaman for MSK. I called it. You're welcome.
We will also have an eventful match on tonight's SmackDown as well, with Naomi taking on Sonya Deville. It could be more of an angle. Sonya Deville's been dodging this match for quite some time and kind of like persecuting Naomi as an authority figure on SmackDown. We also have an announced match, a championship contenders match. It's not a championship match, in which SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair will take on Toni Storm, Hopefully someone will not get hit with a pie. We get a straight up wrestling match.
It's ladies' night tonight because Xia Li also making her debut.
Xia Li also making her debut. An exclusive interview with Xia Li, a written interview up at sportskeeda.com. We don't have a video on that, but kudos on Rick for scoring her first English language interview. That's really, really cool. So all that's going on with SmackDown tonight. Kudos to WWE and NXT. They did some really, really great stuff. They did have an eventful week. They did have some people leave, but they're doing some great, great things there as they have scored a really big win for a local Orlando charity. Tell me more.
The WWE in LinkedIn, which you don't, not many people really follow the LinkedIn posts of WWE a lot though, but they did release this out through LinkedIn saying that recently the WWE NXT superstars visited the Boys and Girls Club of Orlando and provided gifts as part of their second annual season of giving. The Performance Center and events team collected more than 400 gifts for all the club members, and we had some NXT, all sorts of NXT superstars that came in. Elektra Lopez, Santos Escobar came in. I can't, for some reason, my photos are not opening up, but a bunch of NXT superstars came out to help provide a little bit of Christmas cheer to a lot of families in need for the city of Orlando. So that's pretty cool to see.
Good on them. This is the time of year to do that. I know there's a lot of local charity efforts going on. I'm doing one with in Rockford, Illinois. We're doing one. This is really, really exciting. In Springfield, Illinois, I'm doing one with my radio job there as well. Just, if there's a local charity this time of year, it doesn't hurt to give. Doesn't hurt to give to somebody who really needs it. Those toy drives, you see them, don't avoid them. Give what you can, even if it's just a few bucks. It always matters. Doesn't hurt to help somebody out in their time of need here. And good on WWE for doing stuff like this. I think their charity efforts are really an underrated effort of what WWE does. No one says, oh, they're this bad corporation, all these different things, but there are some amazing things they've done.
Evil empire.
Yeah, it's an evil empire. There's some amazing things they've done for charity, and I think that should be applauded. There's nothing bad about this. There's no real speculation. This is good stuff. So it is Friday. That time means it's Freestyle Friday, which means you drive the show. If you're watching on demand, you're still a part of the conversation. Jump into the comments below, and we will be down there as well. I'll be answering those questions directly from my own YouTube account and telling you what's up. So let's get right into them. You ready for it, Jeremy?
Yeah. Just before we get to the questions, more final battle stuff. Pick your poison and fantasy book which trio from AEW is going to take on Shane Taylor, because Shane Taylor Productions is calling out all AEW trios, saying that they're paper champions until they beat STP.
So we're getting a surprise All Elite Wrestling appearance on the show. We already know that Jay Lethal's been added to it.
We already know Tony Khan is providing some help with that. Yeah.
So this will be interesting here.
I would
assume
super click.
Adam Cole, former Ring of Honor World Champion, former Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions.
Or Jurassic Express with Christian, maybe.
That would be rad.
Best Friends.
That would be rad.
Trent just came back with Sue. Man, imagine Best Friends pull up, Sue in the van, pull up into the Ring of Honor arena, and deliver the Best Friends for a match with Shane Taylor Productions. Oh, I was so happy to see Sue and Trent back on Wednesday. That was great.
Kenny, the King Bolin himself, doing some great charity efforts. Go check out his
YouTube
channel, Bolin Alley. Thank you so much, Kenny. Kenny does the monthly pay-per-view previews with us as well, so it's pretty sweet. Let's jump right into questions. You ready for it? It is Freestyle Friday. That's what we're going to do here for a significant period of time, so don't worry about it. We're going to keep doing it until the questions dry up. Daniel's Cruz. He's so much Daniel. He's more than one Daniel. He's plural Daniels.
Plural.
Do WWE have any other tag teams? It always seems like the same teams every week. Pay-per-view fighting. I think with tag teams, because they're a team and it's several people, and also the way that WWE produces television is compared to when you were younger. It was only like an hour or so, or maybe an hour or two a week spread out on 2 different nights. It felt like there were more tag teams than there actually were.
Yeah.
I think now it's also the idea of repetition to 3 hours of Raw. You're getting multiple segments of RK Bro. SmackDown is 2 hours every single Friday, and then you have the pay-per-views, and then you have NXT. I think they have more than enough tag teams right now. It wouldn't hurt to create a couple of new ones.
It's a lot better than it used to be.
Yeah. So much better.
Right now, I mean, hell, you just had a bracket showing the Bronament. There's 4 teams competing for RK Bro. In the past, I mean, let's say Ruthless Aggression era, there was maybe one established tag team, and the tag team that would face them for the title would be basically two thrown together superstars, because they didn't have hardly any tag teams at that time. And it's gotten a lot better since back in those days. So it is definitely a lot better.
I think you'll appreciate this one from Eric there, Jeremy.
Yeah, I called it.
Eric saying, when Riddle came out as the shaman, I was like, damn it, Jeremy was right. Yes, a lot of people were hoping that would be like a Rob Van Dam or something like that.
Hey. Yeah.
Steven Chambers, when will we see Toni Storm versus Charlotte? You're going to see it tonight. You're going to see it tonight, and then likely some type of rematch maybe at the day one pay-per-views. Maybe Toni gets a win on Charlotte tonight.
That probably would set up day one if she gets the win tonight.
Mm-hmm. Other questions here. Get your questions on screen, and don't let us confirm your fantasy bookings. Let's get your actual questions here. Did we see a red light during the Battle Royal on Wednesday night on AEW?
Red and blue alternating lights.
What was this? Tell me about it.
This was during the Diamond Battle Royal. All of a sudden,
I'm watching Dynamite right now, and I had that match on. I couldn't finish it because we had to start the show.
The lights went blue, then the lights went red, then the lights went blue, then the lights went red, and it did this for about a good 5 to 10 seconds. It was very noticeable, and that is a tease, people. For who? Don't know, but that was a tease.
Certainly interesting here. Here's one. Where do you see them boys, the Briscoes, ending up? They are done. As Ring of Honor is going to shut down for a while. Will it be AEW? Who would you like to see them beat first? My money is on Sammy Guevara. Well, they are the GCW Tag Team Champions. I do think they will make the rounds on the independent circuit. They did wrestle at Defy Wrestling in Seattle, Washington, and apparently I'm told from multiple people that went, they did not, soft shoe it. They went full force and were, being really hardcore in the match and doing a bunch of really violent things. So you're getting a full force Briscoes out there who have been in Ring of Honor for a very long time,
man,
and have widely been considered like the franchise act there. I do think the best place for them would be All Elite Wrestling. I just don't know any other place that would fit their TV 14 style, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah, I got to meet those guys. Again, one of the best wrestling photos I've ever taken was with Adam Cole, Bebe, and Mark Briscoe's photobombing it with a weirdest look on his face. Great guys. I've met them both in Dallas about 5 years ago. Love them. AEW definitely, because of the tag division, that the importance on tag divisions. If you ever introduce trios, you could have a third guy with them easily. But GCW, man, too bad Mance Warner got injured, because Matthew Justice, Mance Warner against Briscoes again would just be like on a pay-per-view, would just be bloody. We want the blood. We want the blood, Kev. Get that second gear crew taken on.
I remember Mance Warner I do the interviews backstage for AAW, and he was covered in blood, like covered in it. And we just cut this random promo where they were walking out. And we just put the camera on them, right? And he just starts yelling, and he's like pushing. No, Manders is pushing me. His tag team partner from Second Gear crew was pushing me, and I'm thinking I'm gonna like pitch back to commentary, and he stops to tell him where they can get the show. Tell him where they can get the show. And he puts his arm around me. I'm like, dude, you're gonna get blood all over my jacket. I was wearing a suit. I was like, you're gonna get blood all over my jacket.
Man, get well soon, Mance.
Victor Nash with all that cash, dropping it once again. Your predictions on who's winning the AEW tag team titles tonight: FTR versus Lucha Brothers. And this is during their stack card. This is Rampage tonight. Who do you think?
This was taped already, and I've avoided spoilers. So I don't know, because it was already taped. So I don't know. My gut feeling was that FTR is going to take them, but it's already been taped. Don't spoil it for me if you can. But also on Friday tonight, debut of Hook, which is going to be very cool. A lot of people excited for finally the debut of Hook taking on Fuego del Sol.
I'm not saying I don't think the guys get me excited, but I just don't get the hype. Yeah, I just don't get the hype.
I think everybody just wants to see Taz the Sun wrestle because they know he's going to be good.
Supersonic X, which WWE superstar make their return in 2022? Alexa Bliss, Mustafa Ali, Lacey Evans, Bailey. Well, with Mustafa Ali specifically, he's on maternity leave. His wife just had a baby. Lacey Evans just had a baby not too long ago. She's training back for return. Alexa Bliss, we don't know what the medical issue is. She did have
she had sinus surgery. So
she had a sinus surgery, which is pretty serious. You can't really travel with that when you have a sinus surgery.
That was a while ago, though. So
and Asuka had some type of injury, and then Bailey had an injury. So it's not clear as who's going to return first. There was a time frame I heard that would have Bayley, who was way over 2022 into 2021, before she got injured right before WWE hit the road again.
Yeah, it's going to
She
be
got injured.
WrestleMania for her probably.
I think a return around WrestleMania, night after WrestleMania,
Night
would
after.
be huge. It would be great. Or just, if she just returned right in the middle of WrestleMania season, I don't think that would be bad either. Asuka being back would be huge.
Yeah, we never knew what was wrong with her arm. That never got reported.
Yeah, so it could certainly be interesting here. I don't see her leaving WWE, by the way. I think it's just a matter of time when she wants to come back.
I mean, for God, we could pair her up with Io Shirai and have a hell of a tag team there.
I think Mustafa Ali could do some real business. I think that he's just one of those guys. It's like, man, he could be
a baby face. He could be a heel. I mean, the cop promos they did in the streets of Chicago was awesome for him, but they just never 100% ever got behind him.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get to a couple more questions here. I know you guys have them here. Someone asked about AEW introducing trios titles. This is 3-man team titles. I've heard this before. Tony Khan is like vaguely going on the road. I'm on the thought. I just don't think they need it. Like they got too many titles. If they did it as like an annual tournament, no different than they did like the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal, right? Where someone gets a ring or something like that, or some type of title opportunities from winning a tournament, I'd be fine with it. But another championship you have to maintain that maybe sometimes gets highlighted and low lighted. I don't know.
I'm all for it just because there's already a set a set group of people there. I think that's the logical next turn. That's the logical next belt for AEW.
Mitchell has a question here. Which released WWE superstar do you believe will debut with AEW? Well, there's a lot of opportunities. A lot of people hitting the market right here, especially coming up here in a little while. I know a lot of people assumed Bray Wyatt would be there right away. He would be one of the big names out there. I can tell you Braun Strowman is taking selective wrestling dates. He did wrestle at Blizzard Brawl recently in Wisconsin, in his home state. So you have some really, really big names that are out there. Jeff Hardy is a name that's out there. Jeff will not be available until March of 2022. So you have a lot of people that will become more available in the months ahead, depending on when their non-compete clauses kind of come up here. I'm of the thought, I just don't think everyone goes to All Elite Wrestling. They just don't have the bandwidth, guys. They have 3 hours of TV every week. And Dark Elevation, they're web series. There's just something different about saying you're on a web series. It's not like saying you're on a streaming service.
Yeah, I think Kyle O'Reilly and Kevin Owens, but outside of that, I don't know if many more are going to go. I never thought
someone's bound to get lost in the shuffle, man.
I never thought Strowman would. I think he would be Impact. Bray, I don't know. It's interesting to see. Obviously everybody's assuming these lights on Dynamite or Bray, but I don't know where he is going to do. I don't know when he's going to return to wrestling. Period. So I don't know about that. Right now I just think of everybody. Obviously Jeff is going to join his brother, and then Kyle O'Reilly and Kevin Owens. Outside of that, I don't think anybody else. I think Gargano resigns with NXT. I think Strowman eventually lands at Impact. And possibly with EC3, they've been doing so much work. I think they've even been tagging together lately. I think him and EC3 go to Impact. That's kind of where it kind of shapes up right now. Not everybody's going to AEW, and I don't think they are. I'm not predicting it.
All right, keep firing off your questions here. I want to get to as many as I can. Bobby Petito, does Kip Sabian still wrestle for All Elite Wrestling? He does. He was on the shelf with an injury. He was doing something like a small gimmick where he would show up with like a paper bag on his head, and be like a wrestler that's underrated. That was like a
BTE thing.
But we haven't really seen him.
He's close. He's close to being able to go back to the ring. He's on the road now again, so he's going to be very close.
But we haven't seen a formal reintroduction of him at all.
No.
Stephen Chambers, you have this question up here. I don't want to lose it here. Any chance of NWA MLW getting some Ring of Honor talent? 100%. Ring of Honor is released a bunch of different people. NWA is out there. I don't know how viable they are.
They need people. I mean,
if talent, but also they have a lot less content.
Look at that.
They're not in a position where they have to do that. Also, people kind of come and go there. No one's there for a very long time, so it's worth noting that.
Yeah.
MLW is producing a lot of content. They have their own show, Fusion, and then they're producing a new short-run miniseries that'll run for about 13 seasons. That'll basically be like their version of Lucha Underground, like a really scripted, over-the-top, cinematic style show.
I can't wait for that. And yeah, I mean, if you watch that, if you looked at that NWA card, the last pay per view, ooh, it was rough. I mean, it was night and day from the 2 years ago. Unfortunately, the pandemic kind of hurt all that. So they should try to make a push for a lot of these people, because it's still a weekly YouTube show that they have, just like Power was before. It's no longer under the paywall. They pulled it out of the paywall. So they should start to try to get a little more aggressive, I think.
Here's a wild question here from Jeffrey King. Jeffrey, I believe we can give you the crown for the moment. You are king of the comments right now. Will you be able to top this question before we end our stream today? Jeffrey says, do you ever see WWE not being around, not existing? Well,
nope.
I don't know. To me, that's like saying like the NFL isn't going to be around or something like that. Even if the McMahons aren't involved, I think WWE will still be an entity. It is the number one brand in all of professional wrestling and sport and entertainment. It is on the level of like Marvel and DC in terms of just people knowing it. I'm not saying it's as profitable or as big as those things are, but I mean, you have so much IP, you have so much intellectual property. If WWE is not producing shows, people will still purchase WWE things. Mm-hmm. If the pandemic got so bad that you couldn't even have any shows, you'd still be able to watch a bunch of WWE stuff whenever you want and buy WWE t-shirts and merchandise and board games and all those different things and video games and all that different stuff. I think WWE is almost forever, for lack of a better phrase.
It ain't going anywhere.
No, it's not going anywhere. If you're asking me that question, it's almost like you want me to say yes. So, because what is the coolest thing in wrestling? What is the coolest thing in wrestling in the eyes of some people, Jeremy?
Me.
You didn't take the bait here. I want to get to this next question. Don't want to leave you guys hanging here.
That one.
Where is it here?
Where is it?
All right, here we go. I'm looking for one here. Mitchell wants to know, do you see Simone Johnson debuting anytime soon? This is The Rock's daughter who's in the WWE developmental system. I don't know. I mean, we know she signed with WWE over a year ago. We haven't heard anything about her development or where she stands on appearing on NXT or anything like that. It's also worth noting there's a lot of NXT talent that would wrestle on NXT live events on what they call the Coconut Loop. And they would go and do live shows, independent shows for 200-300 people. And you'd see a lot of people wrestle in those shows that aren't featured on NXT television. And we haven't seen any of those shows kind of come back yet. There was some talk of NXT doing that months ago, but we've heard nothing from that so far.
Yeah, it takes time when you're starting from scratch, basically. So I mean, look how long Parker Bordeaux was in the system for a while before, and he's now just finally getting a match next week, and he'd been in the system a couple of years. It takes some time.
Here's one from Daniel Cruz hitting us up again. He goes, Daniel says, "Can you see Tony?" Who's this Tony? Who's Tony?
Hey, Tony! It's Tony D'Angelo. He got all the canas.
Can I see my friend Tony from high school buying a Ring of Honor? I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
It's Tony. He's talking about Tony D'Angelo. Come on.
Hey, Tony! What are you talking about?
I got the Ring of Honor. I got it.
Over Ring of Honor. Okay, we'll talk to them boys. Shane Thayer. We're gonna talk to Shaney. Yeah, all that stuff. You're talking about Tony Khan, obviously. All Elite Wrestling. Well, here's if anyone was to buy Ring of Honor right now, because we've heard that the video library is up for sale, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's somebody that wants to do a streaming deal, and Tony Khan has said that they want to deal with a streaming service, and they're going to follow what WWE did and signed a deal with a streaming service, and basically gave them the network in the United States. Technically, they have deals with Fight. You can get internationally, you can get a version of Dynamite every Wednesday and without commercial breaks and all those different things on it, right? And if, Warner Media, All Elite Wrestling's major partner, would smarten up and say, like, hey, let's put some of this on HBO Max, our $15 a month, thing, that would be cool. If I could get my pay-per-views from them the same way I get them from WWE, or just have a subscription service that has all these other things I'm already watching on it. Peacock, not the biggest streamer, but still very formidable. Turn it up, AP Bio, The Office, SNL, some other things you buy in there that aren't wrestling, right? Yeah. It'd be worth your bang or your buck. That is the way all media is going, guys. Like everything it'll be freemium in terms of different stuff. And I'm of the thought that if Ring of Honor wanted to be able to leap into a streaming deal and say, hey, we only have 2 or 3 years of content, but look at all this other stuff we have too. because it's the bulk buy. It's you have hours, you've watch hours that you're basically, offering a content provider a service like that. I'm of the thought, yes, Tony Khan would be the most viable buyer, but I wouldn't put it past WWE to come in and say, like, there's a ton of great content here. Let's get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if either one does eventually, just because of the state of the business right now, where you clearly have to take 4 months off to be able to reorganize and hopefully come back in time for Mania weekend. So,
Nashad Jawali saying Ring of Honor needs a streaming service. Ring of Hulu. Well, here's the thing: they do. It's called Honor Club.
Honor Club.
they have one. They have one. It's called
I used to have it.
Yeah. What did you like it when you had it?
Yeah. I mean, I just used it. I mainly used it for the pay-per-views though, because this was back in the Bullet Club Elite days when they were still there. Cody was there still too. So that, I mean, basically the height of Ring of Honor over the past 10 years is when I was a subscriber of them.
Mr. Pena, Mr. Johan Pena, been with me for years. Thank you so much, Johan, again. With Tony, once again, people just talk about this.
Hey, Tony, we're talking about Tony again.
It's my pet peeve when people talk about someone who's a billionaire as if they know him firsthand. With Tony Khan recently talking to WWE, yes, this was confirmed. He said that WWE formally reached out to All Elite Wrestling to get access to talent for some documentaries. Do you guys think he will work with WWE at some point down the road? We've been asked this every few months. I don't think it would be, there'll be arrangements like this. I mean, there already was one, Chris Jericho was allowed to do Broken Skull sessions with Stone Cold Steve Austin earlier this year. Great episode if you haven't seen it. Really, really cool. And that was after a major pay-per-view. Chris Jericho is a huge star for All Elite Wrestling. If Bryan Danielson popped up on Broken Skull sessions, that would be great. I
wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah, it would be awesome. It would just be fun for fans to see that stuff. Now, what does All Elite Wrestling benefit from that? Exposure to a common wrestling fan that still doesn't know AEW or just knows of it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's worth noting when Jericho was on that he did get to talk about going to All Elite Wrestling, and
they showed clips, they showed stills, they talked about it.
Yeah.
It was brief, but they did talk about it.
Yeah, they didn't say it. Now, would they ever do a big co-op show together? I don't know about that. My status on this has always been that I think if you do see anything with All Elite Wrestling and WWE working together, it would be a non-wrestling charity effort.
It's been 25 years roughly since Vince has done something creatively with another company, which was ECW.
And he was already kind of subsidizing it.
And
he was already like he was buying it before he bought it.
I don't foresee, as long as Vince is alive, I don't foresee him doing anything like he did even remotely with ECW, which is going to be a completely different situation because he's with his competitor. Now, God, would the ratings go through the roof, and they should do it, but as long as Vince is alive, I doubt that they do it.
I could, like I said, I could see some type of charity thing. You need to have. There was a collaboration at a video game event with the New Day versus the Young Bucks and Kenny
That wasn't
Omega.
WWE related, though.
I know, but I'm just saying.
They got permission to do it. Yeah,
they got permission to do that. I'm just saying that's an example of something that could happen. It just wouldn't be wrestling.
Yeah, because like you could have the party back together again with Cesaro, Xavier Woods, Tyler Breeze, and Adam Cole. You could have them together on G4 again. Because last night, Attack of the Show, Cesaro, Shayna Baszler, and The Miz were all on there with Xavier Woods. It was a lot of fun. It was a great episode last night there.
Victor Nash with all that cash. Don't you believe AEW might introduce the Trios title at Winter is Coming or Night of the Battle of the Belts? I don't know. Like I said,
maybe belts, but not next week.
Yeah, maybe not. I wouldn't see next week. I think they would save it for
belts, maybe. But I mean, we're introducing the TBS title, so now the Trios might be summer, I would say.
A couple more questions here. I want to get to them before we sign off here. Where do you see Keith Lee making a move to Impact or All Elite Wrestling? He's wrestling somewhere. I don't think he's going to stay on the fence too long.
No,
he's going to wrestle somewhere. And like I said, I don't think everyone needs to go to All Elite Wrestling.
It's interesting to see how big of a player MLW is going to be in all this.
Yeah,
because they're making pushes now.
Also, it's interesting. I know people say, "Oh, Ring of Honor is in such a bad position. They're shutting everything off and stuff like that." But the collaboration with All Elite Wrestling here that's being presented in the next 24 hours or so is interesting.
Yeah.
The independent wrestling market is way, way bigger than it was.
I'm sad that I'm not going to be home tomorrow night. I want to watch. I want to watch Final Battle.
There's a lot going on here. And we're going to follow it all. So definitely keep an eye on the Twitter machine and follow us here. I'm of the thought. I mean, I guess if he went to All Elite Wrestling, a lot more people would see it than if he went to Impact for sure. Obviously, But where would he be featured?
Don't be
There's some people
surprised
that
if him and Mia go to
this
Impact.
isn't a critique, but there's some people that got introduced to All Elite Wrestling recently. Jay Lethal, for example,
He got thrown out early.
he was like eliminated within the first few minutes of a battle royal, right? You have Adam Cole came over. He's featured on multi-man matches. He's doing some singles and stuff.
I'm
like
not
that.
worried about Adam Cole's booking.
No, I'm not worried.
A lot of people are though.
Yeah, because he's not in the world title program, which is just that's irrational, right?
Just
but he's not at the top of the card, right? They introduced him and he's not at the top of the card. Bryan Danielson is,
but he also wrestled 12 matches to get to the top of the card.
Sure, you know what I mean. But he was featured. That's a lot of television time. I'm not just saying top of the card, just top of the card in terms of who's going to be on TV a whole lot. Not wins or losses.
I wouldn't be surprised if Keith Lee and Mia Yim go to Impact. To be honest with you.
Could be very, very interesting for sure. Very, very interesting. Thank you guys so much for checking out the show. Yes, support independent wrestling. Support your local independent wrestling. Thank you guys so much for doing that.
You got a little indie wrestling coming up in 20 days.
Oh hell yeah, dude! December 30th. So you have the whole scenario where maybe you have New Year's Eve off, right? I know a lot of people are going to be doing that, taking a sick day that day or taking a vacation that day if they don't have it already. I know a lot of workplaces are going to be like, hey, it's a Friday, let's take this off, right?
Because New Year's Day is on Saturday this year.
So you get a 4-day weekend, right? You get another 4-day weekend. Well, why don't you start that weekend with a hot little bit of wrestling action on pay-per-view, Fight TV,
on the
very affordable, and we have at AAW, not AEW. No. But AAW has scored a coup of a match. You wanted these Impact versus AEW matches, and you got some, and they were great, and they were on pay-per-view. But we got one.
And it's intergender even.
An intergender warfare between All Elite Wrestling and Impact Wrestling. Former Impact Wrestling World Champion Josh Alexander, the walking weapon, walks into the Logan Square Auditorium December 30th to take on All Elite Wrestling's Ruby Soho.
I loved Josh Alexander's promo there.
Yeah, we played it last week. It's up. It's up on Twitter as well. So go follow AAW Pro. I'm hoping to score an interview with them next week if I can, with all the different people. You'll see me on camera. I'm their Mean Gene. I do all their backstage correspondence, and we have some really, really great stuff planned for this show. Matt Fitchett, the new AAW champion, is going to be on the card. He will be taking on Impact Wrestling's Rich Swann. Lot of must-see talent on this show, and who knows who else will be there.
Maybe I'll be there.
If you live in Chicago, you're in the Midwest, you're making a trip, this is worth the trip. You can get GA tickets for just $20. You can get the pay-per-view for less than $20. If you want to order it on fight.tv, that is fight.tv. You can also get all of our past library with this guy named Tyler Black, a.k.a. Seth Rollins, Bryan Danielson, Silas Young, stars from AEW, WWE, Kevin Owens, all of them have all been in AAW. You can get our whole on-demand library at aawondemand.com. All the links are up on my Twitter at KevKelm. Jeremy, you're busy with us here every weekday.
Every weekday. I'm on here. Top story every Monday through Friday, roughly 5:15, 5:30 Central Time. We're there about every weekday there for you. And I think Lost in the Midcard is going to be back next week. So I think we're going to record after winter is coming. And so next Thursday, early evening, expect a new episode. So if you haven't already, go to the YouTubes and search for Lost in the Midcard.
Go to the YouTubes.
Hit that subscribe button. Hit that big thumb button. And also, check out what we've done in the past. We've been at it for almost 7 years now, over 300 episodes. So go subscribe to Lost in the Midcard. And if you do audio, you do the podcast thing instead, just search for Lost in the Midcard on any podcasting app and hit the new feed. But like I said, we've been on a hiatus for about a month. A lot of various things happening between myself and Matt. But we are going to be back next week.
Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Thank you, Victor Nash, for all those super chats. Slow down on those super chats, buddy. I don't want to take away your lunch money. Don't be doing that here. You don't have to do it all the time.
My money.
Enjoy SmackDown. Enjoy what's going to go down here at Final Battle. It's going to be very, very interesting. Love people saying enjoy wrestling because that's what wrestling is. It is enjoyment. You watch this to get away from everything else in your life, and that's what we're trying to do too. Thank you guys so much. Remember, when watching wrestling, do the most important, critical thing to your wrestling watching experience. All right? Just as CRC says there. Great show, fellas. Enjoy wrestling. Yeah?
Yeah!
Thanks for everything.
Let me talk to you. Have a good week.
You, the wrestling fans, do for us. Give us a follow. Sportskeeda Wrestling. More content coming at you next week and over the weekend, too.
Yes.